Hi everyone, Dr. Warren here, and I want to welcome you to EDU602. This is the second class of the 4 online educator specialization courses where you will develop your own online class. So this is class number 2. In the first class, you kind of created your course shell, you developed your course learning outcomes, your course description, your module learning outcomes, your module descriptions, and you put them into your course shell, okay? So this week, I would like to meet you in the welcome call, and let's go ahead and look at your class together so I get a feel for what you're doing, and let's look at your module learning outcomes and course learning outcomes. We'll probably refine those a little bit, would be my guess, okay? So plan on that, because they have to be in really good shape for this class. Because in this class, you're going to take those learning outcomes, and again, remember, the learning outcomes are the skills and knowledge your students are going to have when they finish your class. When they go through all your lessons and everything, they're going to come out knowing this and being able to do this. And you're going to be able to measure that they can do it. You can observe that they can do those skills. How are you going to measure and observe those skills? You're going to create an assignment or an assessment. Assignment, assessment, same thing. An assessment is a graded assignment, okay? So you're going to create an assessment at the end of your class that's going to measure for you all the skills and knowledge that your students are going to have when they complete your class. And that's what we're doing in EDU602. We're figuring out what is that final assignment that's going to show you that they learned everything you wanted them to learn in your course. Okay? So in 602, we're going to spend 6 weeks really developing that final assignment. We're not going to design, we'll design one other lesson, but we're going to mostly focus on that final assignment that's going to show you that those guys know how to do what you wanted them to do, okay? So it's called the final assessment, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, but essentially you are going to use a theory that I love called backward design. So just like with your course learning outcomes and your module learning outcomes, those are the things your students are going to be able to do when they graduate your course. And backwards design, we start with the end in mind. The learning outcomes are the end, and that final assessment is the end. We're designing with the end in mind so that then you can better focus on all the lessons that are going to lead up to that final assignment. So if you start with just regular design, the way a lot of people do it, they just go, oh, here's a good lesson, here's a good lesson, but doesn't really grow them to the end of your class to where they come out with your course learning outcomes. Now, so that if you now first design your final assessment, then you're like, okay, well, if they can do this final assessment, then I have to teach them how to do this. And I have to teach them how to do this, and they have to learn this. And so now you know what kind of lessons to build up to that last final assessment, backward design, okay? So in week 1, we start out with backward design theory. I'd like you to read those resources, which are fantastic, the video and the resources. And here's a little graphic of backward design. So the first thing you do is identify the desired results. Now you've started with that with your learning outcomes, your course learning outcomes. You've got the desired results. You know what you want them to demonstrate that they can do. And then you want to think about, well, what is evidence? What shows me? What can they show me that tells me that they got it? Okay, so you're going to focus on the part 1 and 2 of the backward design, and then we're going to work on these learning experiences and instruction that help build them to grow them to that final assessment, your final learning outcomes. Okay. So we've got some worksheets here for you to help you out with this, okay? And I'm going to start with the worksheet example, and then we'll go to the blank worksheet. So this week you're going to work on this worksheet, and we're going to start with the example right here on, and this example has to do with, I think, a career. Let's see, where does it say? Wait, this isn't the example. Hold on one second. Let me get that example up for us, okay? Let's see. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Hold on one second. I'm just going to pause so you don't have to watch me do this. Hang on. Okay, sorry about that. Here we are. Okay, so this is about, the course is about developing career goals and a resume, okay? And so you're going to go ahead and put your course topic, your brief description of your target audience, and then you're going to enter your learning outcomes for Module 1 and Module 2. I don't need the descriptions, but I do need the learning outcomes, okay? So that you've already got. Boom, you're done with the first half of this, okay? Now, based on your learning outcomes for Module 1 and Module 2, what are some things that they're going to be able to do, okay? So if we look at these outcomes, identify skills and knowledge that are required for a chosen career path. If you pick a career, what are the skills and knowledge that you have to know in order to be hired, right? Develop a plan for getting hired. Do you need education? Do you need to move, etc., right? Develop a resume, develop a cover letter, obtain references. So those are the things we're looking for here in this class, all right? So if you can figure out, if you are able to figure out a career, what are the desired results and key understandings? This is the backward design language, okay? Basically, what are the main things that you want your learners to be able to do, right? Well, they're going to have to be able to research a career of interest. If they're going to select a career, they got to research careers, right? They have to be able to know what employers look for in their candidates. They're going to have to figure out a path for getting to that career of interest. They're going to have to write resumes differently for different kinds of jobs or for different employers, right? And so forth, cover letters and so forth, okay? Now, this is very general still. How to research a career of interest is very big still. We want to get more and more granular. What are things they're going to have to do? They visit job boards. They visit government career sites, right? They pick out those key skills for a job of interest. They explore the kinds of organizations that are hiring in that field. All these things are important when you're figuring out what kind of career you want to have, right? As a high school student or a young college student. Then they have to map that career path. Is there education? What's involved with everything? And they have to do the cover letter, okay? So these are some just kind of high level, but still, so you start with the highest level, like number 1, very broad and general, how to research a career of interest. And from that, I actually got 3 very granular activities they're going to have to do in order to research that career of interest. Now, do you see what you're going to teach? When you get to here, you can start to see what it is you're going to teach. You're going to teach them how to go look at job boards. You probably give them a few links to job boards, right? And they're going to write down what are those skills, right? They're going to make a list of key skills. And they're going to figure out what organizations are hiring in that field. You see? So now you can teach that so much easier than just how to research a career of interest, right? So that's what this backward design is. It helps you get more and more granular. Think big picture, start to get smaller and smaller. What are examples? What is observable? What can you watch them do that you know they can do? Now you know they have that skill, right? Let's keep going. So then, so now you think about, okay, well now I can actually develop a lesson. What is my lesson? Well, it's going to be that they're going to use the internet to select a career of interest. I might even, and they're going to map out, they're going to map at least 8 steps to achieving that desired career, right? I might give them some research lists, you know, as they research that career of interest, right? Like what, you know, how much money do they make? How much money does that career make on average in a year? What, where is the location? Is location important? What kind of organizations are hiring, you see? So you give them a research list, right? And then, so now you're starting to see how these lessons kind of map out, right? So that's what we're looking for in this worksheet, okay? So here's a blank worksheet that you're going to use. And again, this you already have, the learning outcomes, the target audience, blah, blah, blah. Then you just start kind of going, just brainstorm, just throw everything at it but the kitchen sink. What do you want them to do? What are they going to be able to do? you know, go high level. Then pick one of those things that they're going to be able to do. Pick number one and go, well, if they're going to be able to do number one, what are the things I'm going to be able to see them do? What is the evidence, right? What is the evidence? I'm going to see them do it. That's the evidence, right? That's observable. All right, if I can see them do it, then what are they going to, what is that assignment? What is that assignment that lets me see them do it? Okay? And it might be that one assignment takes care of a few things that you're going to see them do. So for example, if they're going to be able to interview somebody, if they're going to be able to create a video of somebody, of an interview, they're going to have to be able to interview, they're going to have to be able to use a video camera, they're going to have to mic the people, right? They're going to have to get some lighting maybe, right? So those are four things they're going to have to do, be able to interview. So if down here you've got, well, they're going to video an interview, well then up here they're going to be able to, you're going to have to be able to mic them, do a sound check, use the video camera, interview, develop interview questions. So do you see kind of, and it's okay if you find that you're repeating yourself, it's okay. And I'll work with you on that. So what I'd like to do is probably in our welcome call, we'll kind of start to develop this backward design worksheet and look at your course, look at your learning outcomes to make sure they're clean, okay? So this welcome call in this class is really, really important. And I look forward to connecting with you to set that up. Now, I'd like to know what time zone you're in because I'm on Pacific time zone, so I'm 3 hours behind earlier than the West Coast. So if you want to meet me at 9 in the morning, that's going to be 6 a.m. my time, okay? So we need to coordinate our time zones. So what I'd like you to do, I'm going to send you an email, and then you go ahead and get back to me with good times and days that we can meet. I'm open weekends. If you want to meet weekends, that's fine. I'm open evenings, totally flexible. Just looking forward to meeting you, okay? All right, so I don't want to overwhelm you too much. There's a lot going on in this class, but essentially in this first week, we're just really going to figure out what are the actions, activities, skills that your learners are going to have in your online class, okay? So I think that's the important thing. Now we've got this reflection call. So we've got the welcome call, and then there's this reflection. It might be that we get a chance to meet twice this week. So we meet in the welcome call and then maybe meet again later to finalize your worksheet once you've had a chance to work on it. And if we ever talk live, that takes care of the requirements for the reflection. Okay, all right, good enough, and I'll explain all that to you again in our welcome call. So I look forward to meeting you, and welcome to EDU602. Thanks, bye.